After scanning images or taking pictures with a digital camera, it's oftentimes necessary to do some basic editing of those images. So in this tutorial, I want to show you how to do basic things like crop your images, resize your images, change the pixel width and height, and how to save them in a different file format. So let me begin by bringing in an image. These have been scanned and saved as a TIFF. So I've saved them as a TIFF because I want to archive these. I want to have the most detail in these images possible, but if I'm going to include them on something like a web page, they're simply going to be too large, both in file size and image size. So I first want to begin by cropping this image. I don't want to maintain the white border from this image. This was a Polaroid. So I can do it a couple different ways. One way is to use the selection tool, and with it set as a rectangular marquee tool and normal, I am then able to draw a selection box around whatever part of this I want to keep. Now, if I use the selection tool, I must go through an additional step to go ahead and remove the area that's outside of the selection area. So I go up to Image and choose Crop. So I'm now left with that portion that I've selected. I'm going to do an unselect, which is Command D on the Mac. So I have chosen the selection, the part of the image that I want, but it's still oversized. So if I go to Image, Image Size, here I can take a look and see what my actual image is. It's currently set for inches, which is appropriate for images that are going to be placed in a printed document, but this is going to be for a web page. So on-screen display, we want to have pixels. So this image is 1476 pixels by 1119. I want something that is going to be 400 pixels wide. I have these linked together, which I want to, so I don't distort the image in any way. So when I change either the width or the height, the other one correspondingly changes. I'm not concerned about the resolution. For on-screen display, the resolution has no effect on the image at all. So I'm going to go ahead. So I'm doing a downsample. I'm going from an image that's large to something that's smaller. This is perfectly okay. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. So now I have my image at the correct size. If I want to take a look at it in terms of its size on screen, I can do a couple different things. If I hit the magnifying glass, I can take a look and look at it at 100%. 100% means that's the size it would look at on the screen. If I'm doing editing and things, I might want to do fit screen or even fill the screen. But this is going to give me an idea of the size on the screen of this particular computer. Depending upon the resolution of your monitor, that image will look different, but it still will be 400 pixels wide by whatever the height was. So now I've selected or cropped the image. I've also resized it, and I need to save it in a file format that's appropriate. Because this was scanned for archival purposes, it was saved as a TIFF, a lossless format, and this going on to a website would need to be converted to a lossy format appropriate for a picture. So that's going to be a JPEG. And there's a couple ways that you can do that. You could do the save as. I like using save for web. And the reason I like it, it gives you more options. And one of the options is to look at the original along with the one that you are saving. So you could take a look at different settings. So maybe you want to see how it would work with a GIF. And so you can compare the original to that one. You could try the different settings and see the result. You can actually take and change the magnification level. So if you want to zoom in on the image and start comparing certain parts of the image, you could. Well, I said that the JPEG is going to be most appropriate, so I'm going to use that one. I'm going to leave the quality around 81%. And we can see the original is 355K. It's going to go all the way down to 74K for this particular image. So I'm going to go ahead. I like that. I'm going to do a save. And I will simply save that onto my desktop for now. And so I've now saved it. Now, when you close the image, I'm going to go ahead and click on the X. I do not want to save it because it would overwrite both the cropping and the resizing to my archived image. I don't want to do that. So make sure you do not overwrite any of your originals. So I'm going to say don't save. I also mentioned that you could crop an image using a different method. There is a separate crop tool. That's this one right here. And you can then take and adjust the selection area. There are lines in here for rule of thirds, so you could work on the composition of that image. Once you have it the way you want it, you would simply hit return or enter on the keyboard. It automatically crops the remaining part out. So it's a little bit easier, quicker to use because you can do it all with one tool in one step. You don't have to go up and choose any additional menu setting. But either way, it gives you in essence the same results. So I would go through the basic same process. I would go to image size. I would resize this to whatever I'm looking for. I would then save it in a file format. Again, JPEG would be appropriate. File format appropriate for my delivery. Make sure that it's saved, and then again closing, make sure that you do not overwrite your original. So I hope this was very helpful for basic instruction on how to do some very basic editing kinds of things in Photoshop. Thank you.